the one is on the top. So the quality is not really good. Okay. I had a movie also, but I couldn't find it, where we talk for maybe 5 minutes because we just don't understand what they are saying, and you have the head of the village and the spirit master discussing also a lot about the different rules in the forest. And that I couldn't find this movie, but it was really interesting to show, so I hope I will have other opportunities to show it, to show that it's really difficult to understand, and even for them, sometimes it's really confusing to put something, again, a frame on something intangible as a customer. And then we have one last movie with just to show you how is a group discussion in the village. So the women on one side and the men on the other side. That's the tradition. Here it's a Katang village, so the one really traditional, living in the middle of the wetlands. So everybody was here because everybody has been asked to be here. But actually, everybody was really participative and really happy. It's one of the villages where the methodology work the most, because they are really traditional and they have a lot of details on their customary law. That was really interesting. So that's it for today and Fallout, and I have to work.
Thanks a lot for that presentation. There are two very quick questions that if we have to hurry because we have another session. Oh,
No.
yeah.
Thank you for both of you, and you have done respectable, great job of capacity building and the empowerment for the indigenous and local community human beings. But let me say a few words about our point of view. This is still top down, but important, you go down. This is very critical. And this is also outside in. Yes, you come in. And you have a very practical result. Now they are allowed and permitted. And you do the reconciliation, compromising of statutory law and customary law. But in our case, we come out, we reach out, and we seek for linking with you. But this is because we are now doing the reactionary struggle for, and also spontaneous effort to our own people, our own island. So there is different. What I think, tribal sovereignty is the basis of indigenous governance. And of course, we have our own traditional ecological knowledge, and also not only this. Now you ask something about the institution. Of course, we have our tribal governance institution so well, but it is always tacit, never written. And actually, we seldom talk about the customary rule or the double norm, or what we are talking about, what is in our blood, in our body, in our brain, the ecological knowledge. And to link something with why we come here. You come to their community or in their tribe because you are IUCN people, you're concerning about conservation. That's great. But of course, so I think with you that yes, our island is small, but the new Wallis line across it. So the southern part is the Philippine system. The north part is the Okinawa system. So there, of course, in your side, in your vision that this we should be, maybe we should have a better duplication. And also, according to the CPW, and our government have announced that now total all the species 76% is protected because this is located in some protected areas. But there is another 24, and the 70% of the 24 is in our island. So yeah, maybe we are also valuable for you. but yes, I think this morning what Harry is talking about, the community protocol. I think this is an internal process, and this, of course, you can help us, but possibly we should do it. And spontaneous and internal, and because the tradition in our case is still have a high vitality. It is it has some crisis, some impact, but it is a high vitality. We know how to govern or how to conserve our forests, our marine natural resource, or anything well. Yeah, thank you.
Any other questions on this or comments? Yeah.
Yes. It was also in the same line. How and who is going to draft the regulation? And linked with when I thought about participation as a method, but for research and cultural issue, and maybe because now I'm immigrant in South America, maybe I have another vision of what is participation. But the first question was how and who's going to draft the law?
So I think first step, as we said, we go back to them. Now we just want to discuss our data. The second objective of this workshop to come with them is to gather idea on drafting a regulation. This is an unofficial objective of the workshop, because of course we cannot open and say we're working on governance and we're going to ask all these people to draft a regulation document from some obvious reason or organization. But this workshop will be the starting point for drafting the regulation. The people will, we hope, will participate in this and give us their idea on regulation. Then we will draft it. I mean, Patty and Ketsana on the whole thing. And
it will be drafted in that. That's and the thing is, because it will necessarily be a statutory instrument, it's going to have to be drafted according to formats that are known and understood and accepted by the government law. So therefore, the Minister of Justice will actually put this on paper. But we're in a very fortunate situation. Do you know what I mean? That there are not that. You know, we're in a fortunate situation in that the central government has basically said, we give up. We know we cannot govern this country on statutory law alone. We know we have to have customary law, right? And fortunately, the person in the Ministry of Justice at a very high level, who has supervised the whole process of surveying customary law in the country, is the one who's going to be doing this with us. So we're not saying it's perfect. We're not saying it's 100% participatory, but we do believe that it's much better than just having somebody sitting in Vientiane who doesn't know squeak about what's going on in the Seychelles wetlands, coming up with some regulations that get issued and imposed on them. And that's what would happen. We're not saying that this is necessarily the best way to do it or even the ideal thing to do, but You know, we're in a very unusual situation, a country that has, you know, like willingly recognized and accepted this, and you know, and in spite of being a very tightly centrally controlled and planned economy. I mean, okay, fine, they are decentralizing and devolving power and this kind of thing like everybody else, but still, we're talking about a socialist system that that is holding on as tight as possible to, you know, the reins of control, and it's I'd say it's pretty unusual. No?
You see, that's it. Yeah, that's perfect. No, that's, I mean, it's not perfect, but in our context, in our work context, that I think that's the most participative that we can achieve. We cannot really go further when you work on regulation or governance in Laos. It's super sensitive. So having people working with us, local people, local communities working with us on regulation and drafting a regulation, that would be something. I mean, it's already a big thing in Laos. Of course, with our, I would say, foreign vision, it can look like with a lot of limitation, and there is a lot of limitation. But in this context, in this Asian context, and in this Lao context, which is really special, I think that's the best we can do.
Well, and also too, I mean, because the sectoral ministry. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You're right. No, because.
You have to push it up.
Yeah, I did, sorry. Because the sectoral ministry involved also is very interested in this. Because they don't even pretend that they have sectoral. It's the Ministry of Agriculture and Forests. They don't even pretend that they have the capacity to do this, and they recognize that if they have a good regulation that incorporates what the people who live in and around the wetland already do in terms of sustainable use and conservation, then their job is going to be much easier. You know, they're not going. And also, too, I mean, the governments they're very sensitive to internal conflict. They don't want it. And Lao has recognized that, you know, they have like multiple possibilities of internal conflict if they ignore the existence of customary law. It's not saying that they're just going to roll over and change the constitution and change all the statutory law. They're not going to do that, not even close. But at least they're taking the first step, and in a way that very few other countries really have.
Okay, just a quick comment. I think it's interesting to hear the practical and the local experiences in terms of the situation there in Laos. But I was just wondering, in your analysis, is there a deliberate effort to look at some of those practices, how they are contributing to realization of some of the human rights? For example, if we look at right to life, right to food, right to water, and the like, because I see a number of them basically have potential to get some linkages with those fundamental human rights. Thank you.
That is implicit in everything we're doing. I mean, because you saw the statistics. I mean, the almost 60% of the people that live in this area are below the national poverty line, right? And that's low. Trust me, it's low. The government is also like acutely aware that kind of situation is also like the basis for the so that definitely they're trying to recognize, you know, people's rights to health. That this regulation regulating a wetland is not going to guarantee necessarily a right to health care. You know what I mean? That's part of another regulatory regime. It's not going to necessarily recognize the fundamental right to education. That has to be taken care of, you know, in other parts of the regulatory regime. What it can do is ensure that education about the wetland, or information is made available, this kind of thing. So it's not that it's not that it's ignoring some of these things that are in, the UN Declaration. It's just that it's recognizing which ones are appropriate to this particular context, and knowing that the government will have to do a lot of other things to cover a lot of the other ones.
I really have to run. Sorry.
Unfortunately, yeah, I think we need to.
Any questions on the field work? Because Rap is the one.
No. We can answer. I'm sorry, I'm also a rapporteur for the Congress, so I just got 1 hour to come here and present,
Thank you.
and then I have to run now.
So should we have a 5-minute coffee break or anything, or cookie break, to get some air and then come back in 10 minutes? Yeah.